What? Oh, get that worm away from me.
Get a pumpkin.
Life is not about us. And you recognize that there are more important things than you, then it just makes your life a lot easier.
What is it?
It's a worm.
Are you gonna eat it? Put it in your mouth. Tell me what it tastes like. Oh, look at Kitty eating worms. My goodness.
It tastes like hamburger.
It tastes like hamburgers.
Dave's the oldest. He was born in '77. Katie came along 2 years later, in '79. And after having 2 kids, it was my understanding that, okay, that's what we're gonna have. And all of a sudden, our third one, being Nicole, was born in '82. And I don't think our life would have been complete without having Nicole. I can't imagine, not having her.
Nikki.
Does she sleep lots, Kate?
Sure, she does.
I was getting my master's at Wayne State, and my youngest sister, they had a group of friends, they always went to this bar on campus, and she invited me.
So my friends called me and said, come on down. It's like, oh no, I drive down there every day. I'm not driving down on my day off. Hung up the phone, felt an overwhelming urge to go.
I never went before, and I never went after.
There were only 2 seats left at the table. I came in and sat down at one of them. Then all of a sudden, this guy comes in the door, dressed in a plaid suit and a tie. And I thought, wow, this guy is really pretty cool. And he ended up sitting down right next to me at the table. So we talked all night.
And ignored everybody else.
We were really quite rude.
So by June, being very romantic, I just said, hey, do you want to get married?
Yes.
And she said yes.
My mom's probably the most selfless person I know. And probably what she's known most for is she's just an amazing woman of God and a prayer warrior. And so she's always praying for us, and I know it's made a huge difference in my life and many others.
My dad is a very supportive guy. I mean, when I really think about who he was one of our biggest fans growing up. He was supportive whether we were in school, whether it was sports or any other activities.
They're the best grandparents. Our kids, I think they would prefer to live with Ami and Pa than they would actually with us. They just put aside time and just love on my kids. They take them to the parks, they play games with them, they cuddle with them, they read books to them. They're the priority that day, and my kids feel that, and they love, love, love spending time with them.
They take us places and we have sleepovers with them. Once it was dog day, and that was funny. He had to eat out of bowls without our hands. My favorite thing is going out with ice cream with them.
How much do you love? Show me with your hands. How much do you love them?
Any girls want to use the extra dough to make chocolate cookie cutters?
Me! Let's make spaghetti!
My dad would always make homemade ravioli at his house, and so we make our own raviolis every November. The whole family comes together here, and I get a big container of flour because we go through a lot of it. Anybody 2 on up can participate, and everybody has a part. We make the dough from scratch, we roll the dough, we put it out, flour it, and make our own raviolis. Somebody forks it and somebody dries it. And all the kids are involved in it. And I think it is just one of the sweetest, most perfect days of just family and holding on to a tradition.
At the time, I was living in a mobile home, and while we were courting, that mobile home was fine. As soon as we were married, I was informed that this wasn't adequate housing.
That is so true.
So we bought a house based on 2 incomes, and then we had a baby. And when Dave was very young, Kathy informed me that she really couldn't work anymore.
And so he said, you know, what we'll do is, he goes, we'll just make it. We'll make cuts. We'll do whatever we have to do. You go ahead and quit and stay home, and, you know, we'll just trust that it'll work out. So at that point in time, I think we both came to a realization that we were blessed. We had enough. We were, you know, we weren't uncomfortable. We could meet all the needs of the family, and that we needed to be content with that. And so that was a huge kind of turning point, I think, for us.
Our biggest problems in the first 10 years of marriage, because that's the only time we ever did this, was wallpaper. I'm not exaggerating. We had more
Arguments.
fights, mostly her being really upset with me, and it was always about wallpaper. So luckily, people don't wallpaper anymore, so you don't have to worry about this friction in your marriage. But that was, without a doubt, the biggest area.
Initially, yes.
The biggest turning point, though, by far, was joining Munder Capital. That dramatically changed our lives, and mostly from a financial standpoint, but it was a great experience, and it was a incredible firm that was built the right way with amazing people. You know, the reason that we've been successful was because it was God's plan. And life is certainly easier if you have money than if you don't. But what makes people the happiest is, first and foremost, giving it away, sharing it.
The resources that we have, I think, are ultimately given to us to impact the kingdom of God.
I think the experiences show that giving brings you joy.
I think my parents' legacy is that others are more important than themselves. Like, I feel like their marriage speaks to that. And I also feel like their parenting spoke to that, is like that you put others before yourself. And I believe that part of that is because they follow Jesus. And so I love that they live a very selfless life. I'm so thankful that God chose me to be their kid, and they're just awesome. And I'm so thankful that my kids see them. And so not only will they look to mine and my husband's marriage, but they'll look to Ami and Pa's marriage and just celebrate that that's who God chose for them. So thankful.